Hi, this is Sienna Smith. Welcome everyone. Good to see all of you. So today we're going to talk about the first two key actions of asana. The first one you may know already, which is Om. Om is really important as a first step because Om allows us to recognize a higher source, the bigger picture, a bigger energy. There's a whole reason why we're practicing asana in the first place, is to really connect with something that's bigger than ourselves. So how we do that is we basically will take a nice deep breath. And our breath is really the link between our consciousness and our physical body, our physical form. So right there we're connecting to the big picture just by breathing. All right, the second key action you might know also already, but we're going to talk about it in detail at this session. That action is called drawing in, and it comes in three parts. Drawing in is basically the use of your muscles to activate and animate a posture or an asana. So the first step is drawing in from skin to muscle and muscle to bone. So you're literally hugging or drawing in or suctioning your muscles towards the points in the bones. So the second one is drawing in to the midline. So this allows you to connect with your central channel, the center of your being. Basically you draw the two halves of you, the right, the left, the yin, the yang, the ha or the ta, the sun or the moon. You draw those two halves together as a whole. And then finally, it's drawing from the periphery to the core. So that might look like drawing from your hands into the base of your heart, or drawing from your feet into your pelvis, your core body. This literally allows you to be able to plug the posture in to your core body. So you can tell all three of these are important to engage in the process of drawing in. What happens if you don't draw in or use muscle support in your asana? Well, a few things. First, on a physical level, your muscles move the bones in your body. So if we're not using enough or no muscle energy or muscle action in a posture, our joints are going to be at risk and we might damage the soft tissue of our joints. Secondly, when we don't use muscle support in our postures, the ligaments which connect bone to bone, or the tendons which connect muscle to bone, might be strained from overworking. Without any muscle energy or muscle support, your ligaments and your tendons are having to overwork, and they can get little rips or tears or strain or stress on them. So that's from a physical or physiological standpoint. From an energetic standpoint, imagine a pose that's not activated muscularly. It might seem like a rag doll. The person might seem dull, inactive. It just feels like lifeless. So that doesn't seem very inspiring to me. And then finally, mentally, in a mental level, when our brain is asking our muscles to work and the muscles aren't really responding, or maybe the brain hasn't even asked the muscles to work, there's a disconnect. The circuitry is literally stopped or interrupted. And so we're not able to really connect our mind into our body. And so it's pretty difficult to be then fully present in a posture if we're not connecting our mental space or our brain into the body or the physical. And that's really the purpose of Hatha Yoga as a whole, is to become enlightened or to gain perspective or to become closer and closer to our true selves through the practice of the body, through a bodily based practice. And to do that takes a drawing in of muscles. So there you have it. So now we're going to work the four main muscle groups in the legs using those three drawing in actions of hugging the muscles to the bone, drawing them in a balanced way, drawing into the midline and drawing from periphery to core. All right, so we're going to start at the front of the thigh, which is the quadricep muscle. It's a four-headed muscle that runs from your hip and attaches to the top of the kneecap or the patella. This muscle can really support the kneecap in tracking correctly, so it's important to activate from the inner, middle, and outer in a balanced way. So with your hands on your hips, we're going to start in Tadasana, and you're going to stretch your right leg out in front of you. The quadricep acts to straighten your leg. So bend your knee, flex your foot, and push through your foot and straighten your leg. See if your quadricep is working on the inner, the middle, and the outer. Do that 4 more times. Bend and straighten. Use your fingertips to give you feedback as to whether that muscle is actually working or not. Do a couple more. Breathe easily. We always want to remember the first key action, which is Om. Connecting with your breath. Okay, let's go to the other side. Straighten out the left leg, hold the top of the thigh with your fingertips, and bend and straighten. Remember, always using the 4 corners of your feet and a nice strong lower leg so that the upper leg can engage muscle action as well in a balanced way. Squeeze and straighten, bend and straighten. Quadriceps, straighten your leg. Lifting the quadricep allows the kneecaps to lift. So let's try this in a standing balance pose now. Bring your legs together for a Vrikshasana or tree pose. Grab your right ankle and draw it to the high inner thigh. Press your foot and thigh together. With your hands on your hips, feel that the kneecap lifts because you're lifting the quadricep muscles up towards your hip. As you do that, press the legs to the midline to support this action to your core, connecting to your core. And then draw from periphery to core. Draw up through the sole of your foot, up into your hip, and tone that leg nice and strong. Okay, let's change sides. Bring the legs together, take the leg up, we'll go on to the left side now. Hands on your hips, lift your kneecap, and see, is your quadricep engaged? Breathe for a few breaths, doing all 3 key actions of drawing in, and then lower your leg. Next pose we'll go to is Uttanasana, or standing forward fold. I often see students doing this pose with saggy kneecaps. So I'll turn to the side. Come down to the floor, you can bend your knees a little bit. Place your fingertips in front of your toes. Lift your toes. It will help to activate your quadricep muscles. Then push your feet back into the floor. Lift the quadriceps and start to press the thigh bones back, keeping your quadriceps nice and toned. Check with your hands to see if the quadriceps are working. You can usually even see, if you have tight pants on, you can see the muscles of the quadriceps lift. Bend the knees and straighten. Notice the quadriceps working to straighten the legs. Do that 5 times. Last time. Once they're straight, push the toes back into the floor, bring your hands to your hips with nice strong legs, lift up. Okay, so that's a good way to practice activating the quadriceps in Tadasana, Vrikshasana, and Uttanasana. Now we're going to move to the hamstrings. The hamstrings are located in the back of your thigh, and they run from the sitting bone down to the back of the knee, and then they split and run around laterally to the side of the knee, connecting into the fibia and the tibia. So this actually helps stabilize the lateral movement of the knee and protect the knee joint somewhat. The hamstring's action is to bring the heel towards the sitting bone. So this is the action, like you're doing a hamstring curl. That's going to activate your hamstring. Try it. So with your feet together in Tadasana, with your hands on your hips, curl as you flex your foot. Bring your heel towards your sitting bone, and then straighten. Heel to the sitting bone, and straighten. And then feel on this next one, if it's working. All right, let's try the second side. Bring the leg back behind you a little bit to do your hamstring curl. Curl and straighten. 3 times. Check it on the 3rd time and make sure it's still working. Lower the leg back down. Very good. The next way to check if your hamstring is working is go into a low lunge or Anjanasana. Placing your hands in your front leg. Your hamstrings work here in the front leg by drawing your heel back towards your back knee. This is also periphery to core energy and midline energy that activates your hamstring. So see if it's active when you push your front heel down and pull it isometrically back. You should feel it. Your hamstring acts to pull your torso forward as you come into your lunge. All right, the back leg hamstring also has to be working, so I usually imagine my back foot trying to lift off the floor isometrically. Again, the action of the hamstring is to pull the heel towards the sitting bone. So see if you can feel the back hamstring working by isometrically lifting that back foot towards the sitting bone. Once you have both hamstrings active, hands on your hips, go into your lunge. See if you can feel the back of the leg supporting you in this pose. Stretch the arms up if you'd like. All right, come on out. Come to downward dog and change your legs. Left leg forward. Come to Anjaneyasana. Front heel pulls back to activate the hamstring. Back heel isometrically lifts to your sitting bone to activate the back leg. After you do both of those, and you're hugging the legs towards the midline and towards each other, start to lunge forward. Feel the hamstring, allowing your torso to move forward and bring you forward in the lunge. And stretch the arms. All right, exhale, come down. Come to downward dog and stretch your hamstrings. Isometrically, act as if you're pulling your heel towards the sitting bone. That's going to help you keep the hamstrings active while you stretch. Also, while you're here, check your quadriceps. Are they lifting the patella or the kneecap up? Stretch your arms to stretch your spine. Now step your right foot forward for a high lunge, or a Virabhadrasana 1 variation. Same action here, but your back knee is up. So we'll go through it a little quicker. With the muscle energy in the four corners of your feet, and strong shins pulling into the midline, draw your feet towards one another, and you'll feel your hamstring in the front leg working. Isometrically, try and lift your back foot off the floor. Feel the back hamstring engage. Challenge that by bringing your arms up. Make sure your hips stay stable. Stretch your arms up, take a breath. Exhale, touch the floor. Take the muscle energy of the legs as you hug them together and hop switch to the left side. Okay, you know the actions now. Isometrically pull your foot back towards the back foot. That's the front hamstring. Back hamstring, isolate it by trying to lift the back foot off the floor. Hug in, pull from periphery to core, stabilize your hips, and swing the arms up. Take a breath. Exhale, touch the floor. Downward facing dog. One brief word about hyperextension of the leg, because it involves the activation of the quadriceps and the hamstrings. So grab your block and come into Trikonasana, or triangle pose. Step your right foot forward. Place your block behind your front shin. Left hand on your hip. So often what I see a common misalignment in this pose is to slam the knee back towards the back of the knee. So instead, I want you to lift your front foot toes, slightly bend your front knee, and pull the energy from periphery to core. Activate your quadricep to straighten the leg. Imagine you're doing a hamstring curl from your front heel into your sitting bone. And then push the floor away with the front foot, straightening the leg without hyperextending it. Do that 2 more times. Bend the knee, push down in the ball of your foot, activate that imaginary hamstring curl, and use your quadricep to straighten but not hyperextend your leg. 1 more. All right, bring the arm up for the full pose. Stretch it out. Notice any tendency to hyperextend your front knee. Hand on your hip, bend into your knee, come on up and change sides. Right hand on your hip, lift your front foot toes, get that gastroc medius muscle to work and your quadriceps to lift, and then bend your front knee. Imaginary hamstring curl, heel to the buttocks, and then push into the nice straight leg, ball of the foot into the floor. 2 more times. Bend, strengthen, and push. Bend, strengthen, and push. Keep that. Bring the arm up for the full pose. Take a few breaths and really feel, bring your mind into your muscles and see if you can feel them actually working, supporting the actions of this pose in Trikonasana. All right, hand on your hip, bend into your front knee, and come back, hop to the center. So the next muscle group is the outer hips, or the external rotators. And those are your quadriceps, your piriformis muscles, and your outer leg. They work to turn the leg out. So if you bring your right foot forward in Tadasana, and then you turn the toes to face out, you can feel that whole outer hip and glute activate. Turn them in, turn them out. Turn them in, turn them out. And do the other side. Turn them in, turn them out. And feel that outer hip working. All right. A good pose to feel this in is Vrikshasana, or tree pose. So we'll go back to tree pose, but this time with an outer hip or external rotator focus. So bring your right foot up to your left thigh. Remember, lift your quadricep, imaginary hamstring, curl the standing leg. Get that left leg nice and toned. Then squeeze the muscles of your right outer hip to draw the right knee back. That's going to externally rotate your leg more and allow the knee to come straight out from the left hip. Take a few breaths there, or even stretch your arms up. All right, exhale, lower down, change sides. Bring the legs together in standing poses. Helps to connect with your midline before you move on to a single-legged pose. Bring the left leg up to the inner thigh. Squeeze it. Hug to the midline. Draw energy from periphery to core. Activate all 4 corners of your legs, all 4 muscle groups. And then draw the left knee back using your external rotators. Stretch your arms up. Okay, lower down. Very good. Next, we'll do Warrior 2. Step your right foot forward and your left foot back. Warrior 2 allows this external rotation or outer spiral of your front leg. A lot of times, the common misalignment I see in this pose is this right knee or the front knee is dropping forward. So what we want to do is have a nice, steady, strong back leg. Hug the legs to the midline. Draw from periphery to core. Then activate that external rotator or outer hip and glute muscle to draw the knee back and to move the right sitting bone forward. Then extend out through that knee and come into the full pose. All right, bring your hands to your hips, straighten both legs, change sides. Left foot turns out, bend into your left knee. Nice strong legs. We tone muscle to the bone. We draw to the midline, and we pull from periphery to core. And we literally pull the energy in our pelvis. Use your external rotators or your left leg to draw the left knee back and move your left sitting bone forward. Then lunge deep. Stretch your arms. All right, hands on your hips, come on up. That's the external rotators. Good job. Next, we're going to do the internal rotators, or the adductors. Now, often I see the outer hips and thighs stronger than the inner thighs. So we usually have to work the inner thighs quite strongly in the beginning. In this pose, we're going to use our handy block. It's also a key muscle group, the adductors, to draw to the midline. Take your block between your upper inner thighs for Utkatasana. With your hands on your hips, sit back in chair pose. Allow the creases of your hips to soften back while you squeeze the block, activating the adductors or inner thigh muscles. As you sit down low, these muscles help to energize the center of your being so you feel more connected and grounded, and you're able to balance in a stronger way. Draw your arms up for the full pose. All right, inhale, come to standing. Keep squeezing, stretch up. Squeeze into the midline allows you to broaden your lower back, making your low back nice and broad and stable. You can stretch your spine even more. All right, exhale, bring your arms down. Now come to line on your back. We're going to do Setu Bandha, which is bridge pose. We're going to take the block in the upper inner thighs. Bring your feet under your knees, arms by your side. A reminder about the hamstrings here, because they're very key to open up the front of the legs in this pose. The hamstrings, the action is pulling the heel towards the sitting bones. So lift up halfway, squeezing your block, and pull the heels back isometrically. You should feel the hamstrings work. This allows the quadriceps to open freely. Squeeze the block, lift your hips up higher, and feel your adductors get strong. The adductors working allow the hip points to draw closer to the navel, again broadening your lower back. Clasp your hands if you'd like, roll your arm bones under, and press up higher. Keep squeezing your block and widening the back of your waist. One more breath. And exhale, lower down. Okay, last we're going to cover the outer leg, which is the tensor fascia lata muscle. This allows the legs to help the adductors to internally spiral or inner rotate. So come onto your belly, we'll explore that. In Bhujangasana, we're going to take the hands to the sides of the chest. Lower your forehead to the floor. Lift your left leg up and straighten it. Turn it in. You'll feel those muscles on the side of the hip tighten. Lower the foot back to the floor. Inhale, lift your right leg. Turn the leg in. Lower it down to the floor. As you press the tops of the feet, lift your kneecaps strongly and hug now all four big muscle groups into the bone. For that first key action of drawing in. And then inhale, lift the chest. Feel that strong legs allows you to lift up higher. Exhale, lower down. Try that one more time. Inhale, lift the left leg, turn it in, lower it. Inhale, lift the right leg, turn it in, lower it. With nice strong legs and lifted kneecaps, inhale, lift the chest. Draw the tailbone towards the heels, draw the hands back and lift the chest higher. Exhale, lower down. Come back to child's pose and rest. Okay, I think that'll do it. We covered a lot today. The first key action of asana is Om, taking a nice deep breath to connect with the higher reason you're doing your practice. Then we went into drawing in the action of the muscles. The first action, drawing the muscles to the bone. The second one, drawing into the midline. And the third one, drawing from periphery into core. All of that's going to help stabilize your pose. It's going to bring your posture to life. And it's going to energize your mind, your body, and your spirit. And this is really what the benefit of doing this active Hatha yoga practice is. Hope you have a great day. Namaste.